Hello and welcome to another video on the Mathematical Fundamentals, a course from Brilliant.org, this North American educational platform for profit, co-founded by Sue King when he presented this idea in 2011 to a series of angel investors, venture capitalists. So Chamath Palihapitiya, a senior or senior executive at Facebook from 2007 to 2012, he now invests in this, and then down the line he start a fund called Social Capital. But the whole point of making that quick recap is to look at how a particular idea, when you expose that to someone, in this case people with capital, and you evaluate that, how powerful it is, especially as a way to then down the line see this as a business. So, for example, the Khan Academy, all right, when they registered this as a non-profit organization, so all of these big foundations started to invest as a way to reduce taxes for these companies, and also while receiving funds from uh, all of these funds, right? Investment funds, foundations, ONG, that kind of thing. So the idea here is that even though that they present this idea, and whatever your funds are coming from, especially they come from these venture capitalists, the idea here is to understand that at the end of the day, at least for Brilliant.org or for Khan Academy, you must provide value not only to your audience but also to the shareholders. So one way to do that, usually and traditionally, is by, well, I'm going to charge money to people, right? So this is de facto uh, way of actually generate revenue. Whereas the other is like, I'm going to be a non-profit, which means I'm going to receive funds from donations, but instead I'm going to focus my attention is on providing value to the consumers. So in this case, as a way to actually then down the line help the Khan Academy to not only gain prestige, but also become a reliable source and ultimately uh, be a source of inspiration, a source of information. And if you can see, if you as a consumer, once you actually get the value from it, it's important to mention that, to quote them, and if you want, to donate them. So this is one of these circles in which capital as well as value are closely related, and someone has to make a sacrifice, all right, whether it's in terms of money or in terms of attention. So in this course, right, of the mathematical fundamentals, we're going to take a we're going to take a overview in a sense to the essentials of algebra, which is not that hard after all, which is just generalizations based on a lesson that you learn by looking at patterns on those lessons. Okay, or in other words, it's like once you have a problem and you look at that problem that repeat itself several times, and quite frankly a lot, then you want to find a way to generalize that. So we have the algebra to do that. So this is algebra. Also the number theory to actually understand all of this basic building block of this unit of information when it comes to counting, the arithmos. And the other is uh, the logic. the mathematical logic, the relationship between a statement and the draw conclusions. So with that, now first we look at the generalized, right? That after all, uh, this is the math, the value proposition of the mathematic is we're gonna see a particular pattern, or we're gonna from a lesson, we're gonna see their patterns as a way to generalize them when it comes to solve them. So this generalization, when you use, for example, uh, geometry and that kind of thing, especially geometry, to explain why this pattern arises, which is the role of the mathematician. But generalize is this one particular toolkit here, right? The ability to generalize from a lesson that we have learned. Okay, and the other is look at things from different perspectives. In other words, is when you encounter complex problems with the right perspective, it certainly make it certainly just straightforward. So, for example, if you know uh, you want to prepare a burrito, all right? So one way to do that is create the uh, mm, create the core mass, all right? Uh, and then so first thing first is to go out and get the core, and then smash that as a way to get this mass. And then once you have that, you are going to add some water as a way to actually get this flour, so you can then prepare your taco, at least the base of the taco. As you can see, there is several things that we need to do. All right. So one way to actually reduce the time that we need to actually get our taco is to find out and go out to buy this pre-made mess, taco mess, right? And then we also go out to some grocery store to actually buy some meat, pork, or soy, all right, whatever you like, your taco, and then you can prepare that. But as I mentioned here, is that because instead of doing that in one particular way, which is manually, right? So I'm gonna do all of these different things to actually get the taco. You can go out and see how you can get those things faster. Look at things from different perspectives. So again, there is also, as any decision making, uh, there are some trade-offs in the way how do you do that. So here, by looking now at the mathematical pattern, uh, the mathematical fractions, and how two patterns arise when you see the mathematical fractions less than 1, and how this pattern arises called fractals, and then the mathematical fraction greater than 1, and how this pattern called compound interest arise. So as you can see here by looking at this abstraction is that you also can apply that to your life. So this fraction, or this small unit of, let's say in our case, resource time, you can now allocate that in a much more way, or in a wisely way, that allows you to live the life that you want to, and to solve your inner problems, and to do that kind of thing. So that's something interesting and valuable, because once you're able to look at this particular pattern, for example, the fractals and the compound interest, you can now start to apply that in your daily life. So for example, what I'm doing here is part of that. So what I'm doing, sorry, So what I'm doing here is that by applying this compound interest with the mathematical fundamental, as well as looking at other courses like JavaScript, Vue, React, Node, and do that diligently over time. So in the course of the next 3 months, I'll gain vastly knowledge as well as see the relationship of all of this, which is part of the mathematic logic here. See all of the different pieces here. So when a particular client needs my service, I can see the problems, look at things from different perspectives, all right? Understand the problems, so generalize that, making some abstraction from that, look at things from different perspectives, all right? And then know what to do. So that's the value here, especially as I build in this basic building blocks, or this unit of information, unit of understanding. So, in my particular case, what I have done with the fractals is just a way to, yeah, it's just a way to look at where I can allocate my time and energy, all right, as a way to gain perspective and started to decide where I need to allocate my time and my attention. Okay, so for example, here on the fractals, like this, I must dedicate my time and attention to relationship or to business or to health, right? So right now I have my health maxed out, but when it comes to relationship, it's something that I have quite decent. Uh, but in terms of finance, is deadly. Is actually right now is not at the best shape. However, I got my career aligned this, and my assets is stagnated. So that's one of the reasons why I need to dedicate my time and attention is into this aspect, to the business, right? Again, because this is also something that people in the sales and scientific community mention is that if you can measure something, you don't know what's going on. So uh, it is quite a little bit abstract to do that, but you internally know when you need to allocate your time and attention. So even though despite this pattern is called as the Sierpinski triangle. In all of this, white space is just time that you can dedicate to other stuff in your life. All right. So you can have also flexibility in this fashion. So the other pattern is the compound interest. So the compound interest, which is something that I would like to make an animation or an animation for that, is that it is best explained when you hit the gym. So if you're overweight or you have some additional way for that, one of the great thing of this, when you hit the gym, you hire a personal trainer and nutritionist and that kind of thing, is that over time you will see an outcome. So after all this compound interest, which is a pattern of the mathematical fraction greater than one, Warren Buffett said that this is the eighth wonder, and I no wonder why. Okay, this compound interest, this particular pattern of the mathematical fractions over one, is describing how exponential growth happens at regular intervals. All right, so that's it for this thinking by looking thing in different perspective and how you can apply that to your life. And the other is thinking forward and backwards. Meaning is that especially for the mathematical logic or statements here, all right. When you need to look at a particular statement and there draw a conclusion, you want to know what is true, and what is not. So thinking forward is a particular approach when you want to specify things quickly to understand the clue behind that so you can reason about them faster. Okay? So understand the clue first. Understand or look at the thing that you can specify quickly. And the other is thinking backwards, which is enumerate all possible answers. And then this is also that you can apply, again, I'm going to make a quick tangent here. So by illuminating all possible answers here to figuring out or to filter down, right? Here, this is something useful when you do, for example, error handlings in Node or in any scenario when you need to think about all the possible things that can go wrong, or when you need to actually enumerate what are all the possible combinations here. So thinking backward here, which is that. So by looking and by enumerating all the possible answers to filter what is true, okay, uh, in some scenarios, in some problems, thinking backward is very effective despite being hard to apply. So for that, that's what you need, for example, in the case of thinking forward and backward, all right? You need to know when you start to focus your attention first, okay? Because from that, you ask yourself, hey, I hope I went to the right way, looking at the thinking forward or thinking backward, okay? So once you're able to see when you start, okay, and this is also something interesting, especially for seniors developers or whoever are in a particular industry that needs to make the complex the complexity accessible. Okay, how important is to make that as a way to give meaning to others so they can do the work. Okay, so how do you do that? Or in this case, when it comes to the thinking backwards, well, especially for this kind of problem, uh, thinking backward is very, very effective despite being hard to apply. First things first, look at the thing that you can specify quickly, right? That's thinking forward. This is specific information. And thinking backward is more about the global information, about the structure of the information. Okay? So by looking at some mathematic logic exercise and also expand a little bit more my English skill, especially British, okay, I was able to actually see the relationship of that in how and when do I need to apply this kind of approach, thinking forward and thinking backwards. Great. Uh, and this is part of the reasoning from result to cause. So when you look at the result, you want to know what are the possible causes. That is one of the examples here. So for example, if you now make this generalization, okay? So now that we make this generalization from, you want to know is the cause giving a result. That is one of the de facto thing that you do in security, in error handling. Okay, you want to know what caused this. Okay, you want to make sure that what caused this, and then you go to make this thinking backwards. Okay, enumerate all possible answers here. All right. Okay, so this is for the. All right, so now you see a utility here. Okay, okay. And now you see a utility here. Okay. So for example, um, value proposition of thinking backward, thinking backward. in web security and error handling. And error handling. Okay, for any scenarios where you need. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, my friend. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So for any scenario where you need this is very very important. So for any scenario, even though I'm going to write this. So right now, okay. So right now I'm looking at the course. Yeah, right now I'm looking at the course Mathematical Fundamentals from Brilliant.org, a North a North American a North American a company, a North American online educational company for profit, co-founded by Sue King in 2011 when he yes and when he present that to a series of investors. Chamath Palihapitiya, I think I wrote that great. Okay. Oh my God, I did it great. Palihapitiya. Oh Jesus, I'm an Hindu after all. Exactly. Chamath Palihapitiya. What? No image, bro. Chamath Palihapitiya. All right. So engineering and risk investor capitalist. Anyway, uh, so yeah, that's right. Chamath Palihapitiya invests in the idea when he later on start a fund called when he started a fund recently rebrand as social capital. So the idea behind this is that since I'm I look since I look at three principles or three essential tools in the mathematics, and after all math, math mathematics comes from the Greek word mathema. Okay, so mathematics, right? So this is mathematics, but online etymology dictionary. Okay, the mathematics, right? It comes from the Greek, the mathematic, That's right. So mathematic. Hmm. Yeah, but the talk is more like the mathema. Uh, mathema or math. Mm, mm, okay, mathematic. And then you got it exactly. Mathematic here. Okay, but it comes from the Mathematik. But exactly, literally, so mathematical knowledge, a lesson, is supposed to learn from mathema, literally that which is learned, you know. From the word mathema is that which is learned, lo que uno aprende, o lo que se aprende, lo que se llega a aprender. All right, from mathema. After all, mathematics come from the Greek word mathema, which means, which means, okay, which means is math, that which is learned. After all, mathematics, after all, the word, the word mathematics, yes, since I look at three essential tools in mathematics, the word mathematics comes from the Greek word mathema, which means that which is learned. And that, and that's answer, answer a lot of problems, you know, and that answer a huge question, and that answer a huge question. It is not about memorization, it is about understanding. Okay, the word mathematic comes from the Greek, yeah, from the Greek here. Mathematical fundamentals here from brilliant.org. When Hilarion started a fund recently rebranded as Social Capital. Okay, that's interesting. That's also cool. Okay, which means exactly the word mathematic comes from the Greek word mathema, which means that which is learned. And that answers a huge question. It is not about memorization, it is about understanding. All right. So once I look at this, Okay, and then, okay, so once I look at this, uh, and as I move on about the essential tools, so this essential tools can be summarized. Okay, so these essential tools can be summarized in things we do every day. Anytime we, yeah, every day. Anytime you saw a, anytime you say a price tag on a product, a woman or an attractive woman or man, so an attractive woman or man, a new opportunity in business, what I'm going to eat today, what I'm gonna eat today, what I'm gonna eat today, exactly. So come on, what I'm gonna eat today, what I'm gonna eat today. That's right. Mm-hmm. So patterns, patterns, perspective, and logic. All right. So so brilliant. So the course mention two approach when it comes to deal with logic problems. Okay, which is thinking backward. Okay, so these math essential tools can, so math essential tools are used in things we do every day. Anytime you saw a price tag on a product, an attractive woman or man, a new opportunity in business, what I'm going to eat today, patterns, perspective, and logic. So the course mentioned two approaches, okay, when it comes to dealing with logic problems. So the course mentioned two approaches when it comes to dealing with logic problems. Thinking backwards, or specify specify the things, or clarify specify the thing, specify the things you can clarify quickly. So specific information, okay, the thinking backward, or specify the thing that you can clarify quickly to understand but to give you clues about the problem so you can reason about them faster, specific information, right? And the other is thinking, this is thinking forward and thinking backwards, right? So thinking forward and thinking, yeah, specify the thing that you can clarify quickly to give you a clue about the problem so you can reason about them faster, specific information. And then thinking backward is that enumerate, enumerate all possible, it's like all possible answer so you can filter, yes, you can, so you can then filter out them to get the truth. Okay, so why am I writing this? Why am I writing about this? You know, so why am I writing about this? In the scenarios, in the scenarios when you need to know what went wrong, okay, like, yeah, in a scenario when you need to know what went wrong in web security and error handling, web security and error handling, you must, you must use thinking backward to see, to find, in a scenario where you know what went wrong, like web security, you must know what caused, yeah, what caused a bad behavior, an error, what caused a bad outcome. What you must know what caused a bad outcome, a bad or good outcome, especially bad. You must know what caused a bad or good outcome. And this is not only also in marketing, you know, web security, error handling, marketing. So you must know what caused a bad or good outcome. Like you must know what causes a bad or good outcome. So ABI testing is one way to do it. ABI testing is one way to do it. And this is something that we can apply to our daily life. Hard to do it? Absolutely. But when you are by your own as a business owner who face the yeah as a business owners who face the natures who face the forces of nature and the market, you will, for your own survival, for your own survival, you must. hmm And this is something we can apply to our daily life. So thinking backwards, hmm thinking backward as a way to know the cause of the causes of a of an outcome. Yeah, thinking backward as a way to know the causes of an outcome is something that you can apply to your daily life. Daily life. Hard to do it? Absolutely. Business owner, business owners or persons, yeah, business owners who face the force of nature and the market know find this very valuable. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 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 This is that's why I am recording this. That's why I'm recording. That's why I'm. That's why I'm recording myself to update my mathematical fundamentals in my YouTube channel. hmm unconsciously. Anytime you saw a price tag on a product, an attractive woman or a man, a new opportunity in business, what I'm going to eat today, pattern, perspective, logic. So yeah, pretty much this. Uh, So with that, that'll be all for this video. As a way to condense, to compile this knowledge here and see how especially it's good to apply the thinking backward, especially for this kind of scenarios, all right? Error handling, security, as well as marketing. Okay, so what are the things that we can do as a way to improve more user conversion and user retention? So that's one. Or how can we know what actually caused this? Mhm. So with that, okay, that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.